Welcome back to another edition of Streetpreneur Podcast. And today I have a very special guest. Today we're going to talk about drug testing, how to open your own drug testing center, amongst a lot of other entrepreneur ventures coming up. I have a very special guest. She's the CEO of Precious Screening, Drug Screening Centers. She is a wife and mother. She's a brand manager. She's also a business coach. She's a motivational speaker. She's a consultant. She also was named by ATL Plus magazine for being one of the 50th most powerful business woman. She's also the publisher and author of a new book called Unbroken. I would like to welcome Mrs. Sheila Michelle to the show. Welcome to Streetpreneur Podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Let's kind of get into a little bit about your background. Tell us, how did you get started in the drug testing business? And also tell us where you're from.
Oh, absolutely. You know, I'm repping ATL. I am a true peach. I'm from College Park. I have lived East Coast to West Coast, but I'm born and bred here in Atlanta. I started my career actually with the gas company. So I don't know. I know you're not from here, but if you were here, when natural gas deregulated, I was on a project at the gas company that actually, was part of that major initiative. And so that's really where I learned a lot. I came in as a secretary, and, it was just room for me to learn, the sponge. I was in IT. Yeah. And so fast forward, I got into technology. I became a technology leader. I've worked globally as well as domestically. My undergrad is management. My grad is international business. And so what really happened to me is that my oldest son, his name is DJ, he was murdered in Columbus, Georgia in 2016. And corporate has some things that come with it, like bureaucracy and, you're going to deal with some racism, you're going to deal with some sexism, you're going to deal with all the isms.
Right.
And a lot of that just became a lot for me, things that you could tolerate a little bit more when you weren't carrying grief. And so as a technology leader, I went to get a drug screen for this particular contract.
Right.
And it was a room not much bigger than the one that we're in right now. And it was very linear. It was just, I could see straight through. It was like I could see straight through the room. You know what I mean? It was like the lights of heaven just started shining. And God said, ask him. There was a guy who was doing my drug screen. He said, ask him, how did he get started? Okay. And I was hesitant, right? Because number one gem I want to drop is like, black people don't like to ask black people stuff. No, we don't. Because black people don't like to tell black people stuff, right?
Right.
And ultimately, that's exactly what happened, because he referred me to his wife, who basically said, why would I help you learn this business? You would be my competition. And I was explaining to her, I was like, well, I'm not even going to be on this side of town. And I was so passionate about it because I know God told me to do it. I was prepared to, pay her. Right. I wasn't asking her to tell me anything for free. And she didn't, and she wouldn't. Okay. So I just really, I found my own way. That was nearly 6 years ago. And what that did was, it was the catalyst not only for me to start a drug testing center, an occupational health center, a day spa, or all the things that I've been able to do since then. But it also helped me teach 3,000 plus people how to have their own drug testing and center and lab.
So you felt that situation that you learned, how you were treated by her, inspired you to never, I'm going to help as many people as I can. Yeah. That was one of your driving forces of being your motivation.
Absolutely.
Of doing what you're doing now and helping. God is blessing you to help so many other people.
Right.
So that's definitely. I can't believe someone did that, but it's not uncommon, not unheard of, especially from us, because we have a self-hatred of each other. And so, like you said, I don't want to help the other person and come up. So what was the process like of you opening that first location?
Yep. So I'm going to give it to you in 5 steps. We call it our success framework.
Okay.
Which is number 1, understanding your location,
Okay.
right? So when you all get into business, you need what's called a business model, right?
Right.
A dream alone won't do it. You need a model
Yes.
that encompasses a strategy. So you got to think, do I want a brick and mortar? If I don't have a brick and mortar already, do I want a brick and mortar or do I want to be mobile? Okay. Drug testing and lab to a degree, those are things that, this could be a drug testing center.
Yeah, it could.
Very easily.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
So you can if you have an existing space, you can evaluate how to incorporate services there, or you can get you a space, or you can be mobile, or you can be a third-party administrator, and really that's just a sales function. You go get the business and then, get people scheduled.
Okay. So explain to me the startup costs between the difference between, like you said, a brick and mortar, just a basic cost. This can run you this amount.
Right.
And you want to do the mobile unit. I'm sure you have to go out and get the van and get the equipment and everything else for that, right? You don't have to?
You can use your car.
Right. Okay.
You can use your car. And
Just kind of break down the startup cost for each one.
Yep. So always on the lower, I'm going to go through the steps and I'm going to double back on the cost. So step-wise, you need to decide what your location is.
Okay.
Secondly, you need to identify what is your offer. I'm a serial entrepreneur, yes, but keep in mind, I'm heavily educated, right? Okay. I'm heavily experienced in corporate. Right. I had a good support system. Mm-hmm. So you can do multiple things, but you have to have the infrastructure for that. So so when you're determining your services, you might only need to do one type of drug testing, right? Or you might only need to do one type of lab service, right? So you have to really think about, what am I positioned to do? Like, what's my infrastructure? What can I really, offer people and do it well, instead of saying, oh, I want to be a drug testing center. I want to do background checks. I want to do fingerprinting. I want to do DNA. Don't do that.
You have to find your lane.
You got to find your lane. Right. So that's number 2. Number 3 is you have to get qualified. If you are going to offer drug testing that is for regulated industries like DOT companies, those are regulated, right? Department of Transportation. Right. You have to actually be qualified. You have to understand the theory behind DOT. Why does DOT drug testing even exist? Right. And then you have to procedurally be qualified by someone who is a qualified trainer. Number 4, you need to get business, right? Mm-hmm. And so a lot of times, y'all, we think that we get in business to make money. We get in business to serve. We get in business to provide, services and products that benefit people, that make their lives better, make their lives easier, make them happy, So you have to understand how to get business. You need to understand the customer's journey. And it doesn't need to be just for one type of revenue, right? So you may want to do, when we first started, we were just really making $10 or so a drug test through third-party administration. But you can get government contracts. We have a $400,000 government contract right now that we recently won. You can get corporate deals. I just left the National Minority Supplier Development Council, where all the customers, everybody in the room, and you get to talk to them. So you got to understand what your approach is going to be for getting business. But the number one thing, first and foremost, understand you're not getting business just to make money. You're getting business to help people. Number 4, or was that number 4 or number 5?
That's number 4.
That's number 4.
Yeah.
Number 5 is you got to be ready to go to the next level. The reason why you were able, and I say this very humbly, the reason why you're able to say, oh yeah, she's a brand manager, she's a serial entrepreneur, she's a coach, she's all these things, right, is because I understand the big picture. My picture is big. God showed me that at 5 years old. My picture is very big. So I never come into anything thinking low scale. I'm always thinking about how can 1 + 1 = 1 million.
Yeah.
So you got to understand the path to go to the next level, and don't just get comfortable and complacent.
Okay.
So now let's talk about cost. So those are y'all steps, right? At a high level. When it comes to cost, if I was somebody who really didn't have any money, I would do mobile drug screening. You can come to me for, $3.99 and get qualified as a DOT collector, right?
Okay.
And so let's say you come to me for your let me take it through the steps. So your step one is really not going to cost you anything if you have a car and you have insurance and you got gas.
Yeah.
Your location is not costing you nothing.
Okay. So that's the low end.
That's a very low end.
$3.99.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
On the high end for that, at that point in time, I'm pre-pandemic. Okay. I'm a pre-pandemic pandemic baby. So I think my rent was like $900
Okay.
or something.
Okay.
My first space. But y'all can go to a salon suite. Y'all can come to a space like this. Some of the co-working spaces even, right? So
it's a good idea.
Yeah.
Think about that.
And if you want a brick and mortar, then look at Bank of America. Bank of America, I don't know if they still have it, but at one point they were looking for people to give money to help them purchase commercial property.
Okay.
They were going to meet you halfway up to $25,000
Right.
on your down payment.
Okay.
Okay, but you don't need a lot of space, just to be clear.
How many square foot would you recommend?
600, 600.
600. Okay.
On the low end.
Okay.
But if you are going to have a large space, fill it up with something. If you are that person who's the proverbial millionaire, that means you need to make at least $4,000 a day. So if you got 4 rooms, every room need to be making $1,000 a day. Like a space like this, every room should be making a certain amount of money every day.
Okay. And you need to be offering full service.
You need to have a full
fingerprint to the labs, to the testing. You need to be offering at least 10 or 15 different services.
You got to optimize.
Right.
But the other thing, when we get into, and as I mentioned, qualification itself is $399. I'm a high ticket coach. Okay. This is my last year coaching, though.
Right.
And, my clients pay me upwards of $25,000 because they understand the investment, right?
Right.
So if you want to come to us and you say, hey, I want to get in this drug testing and lab game, you want plug and play, that's going to be anywhere from $3,000 to $25,000, depending on what you want to do.
Okay.
But I also just want to let the everyday person who feels like they got to sell drugs, or they gotta go to Magic City, or whatever you feel like you gotta do, and you don't want to do that. You know that God calls you for more. You can do this on a very low scale, but at the end of the day, you are going to need to make a higher investment because you're marketing. So that's where the bulk of your money is gonna go, is to your marketing.
Right. Is it felon friendly? If somebody got a criminal record, because there's plenty of people in the streets they like, I don't know if I can do it.
Absolutely. You don't.
Certification doesn't.
Right. It's felon friendly and even education friendly to a degree. Now you can't become a lab director without a high school diploma, if I'm not mistaken, but you can do drug testing regardless.
Okay. All right. That'll help a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wants to know that. And so your mentorship, you said, ranges from $3,000 to $25,000. What about, let's just go inside of somebody who has a brick and mortar location. How much can they expect to spend on the startup for it? Getting their own equipment, supplies, or cups, or what do they need to get started?
Oh, I'm getting ready to blow your mind.
If they have their own brick and mortar location,
the
startup costs.
The supplies are provided by the labs.
They don't pay?
So you don't have to pay for those.
Right.
What you have to pay for
is
we're going back to strategy.
Okay.
So there is a strategy where you are a collection site only.
Oh, okay.
And the labs, you're just collecting and sending off.
So
the lab, you're a partner, so you're not paying for anything.
Much for that. Yeah.
But if you want to be a processing lab, right? If you want to do drug screening in-house, you want to, let's say it was COVID, you want to do COVID testing in-house, you want to do health and wellness labs in-house, that's where you're going to need to purchase point-of-care test kits,
Right.
or you're going to need to invest in equipment.
Right. So the startup cost is really not that expensive.
No.
Like, I mean, not like a lot of people would think it would
No,
be.
it's not.
Oh, okay.
It's really not. So if
thought
I
it was
wanted to
expensive.
quantify that, so for example, a box of point-of-care drug screens is $250.
Okay.
And off that box, you should be able to make at least $100 per cup.
Okay.
So that's what, $2,500. You paid $250
Yeah.
for it.
Right.
But you got to get the business, y'all.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I want to touch on that too. Of course, everybody's worked 9 to 5 at some point in their time, and they would have a drugs testing company to come live to the location and do the drug testing before the hiring process takes place. Of course, it's a part of the hiring process takes place. How do you reach out to those corporations in order to get is that a contract, or is that you calling them? I'm sure you're bidding against other drug testing companies.
Yeah.
How do you go out and market and make that happen?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked that question. So, y'all, when you are in business, whether it's drug testing, lab, or anything that you're doing, even being on a podcast, right?
Right.
There are 3 revenue lanes. There is business to business. You'll hear people call it B2B.
Mm-hmm.
There is business to consumer, which is just think mostly of your social media selling, or think of like people just coming in the door off the street. And then there is business to government, which is the big government. So from a business to business standpoint, what we do now that we didn't do when we first started is we help your companies obtain certifications. Okay. These certifications, like you may become certified with the city of Atlanta, which we are. You may become certified with the state of Georgia, which we are. You may become certified as a DBE or nationally as an MBE, right? Or as a woman or WBE. We have all of those certifications. And so we work with you to get those certifications as well. And these things get you into rooms where you can have conversations. So a lot of times we are like this, looking for people. I wake up to opportunities in my email every day.
Okay.
Because I have certifications, I'm on email distribution lists, I attend events. So the idea is to have those opportunities. You wake up to them to explore them, not you like doing this, beating the street. Okay. So that's B2B, okay?
And you get those certifications through the minority, supplier, diversity.
Exactly. You go through those. And then B2C, that's your everyday. You got people who are on probation and parole. And by the way, y'all heard me say I was from College Park. That means I'm not just from College Park. I'm a girl from the projects. This is what y'all got to understand. I was born to a 14 and a 16-year-old in a children's home. And so if I can do it, y'all can do it. Okay. This is what I need y'all. I had my son was born when I was 16 when I got pregnant. Yeah. Okay? So, this is not a passenger. I wasn't a passenger princess, okay? I just got this life not too long ago. Right. So I need y'all to understand that there is nothing, more than anything, there is nothing that you cannot do, because all things are possible with God. Okay. But the business to consumer, that's your everyday. And the reason why I went on that tangent is because I'm about to tell you, I have people in my family who are on parole, or who are on probation, or who are in jail, or been to jail, what have you, right? Okay. But those are your everyday customers, right? Okay. Your everyday customers are also some people, they do drugs, and they know they're going to get drug tested. Yeah. So they come to you to get drug tested before they get their other drug test to see is everything all right? You have people who bring their family members for drug testing. So you got your B2C group too, right? And then you have your B2G group, right? So I mentioned to you all that we just won a $400,000 contract, federal government contract. We also previously had a $193,000 government contract. B2C, we used to bring, I would say you can expect to bring, just doing collection, you could bring at least about $5,000 on a monthly basis, B2C. And B2B, we just finished some drug testing up for a university and school. We're looking for another contract with them, a different one as well.
Okay.
That could be, on the low end. It could be a couple of $1,000s here and there, but it could also be a whole lot more.
Okay.
So when it comes to getting business, B2B, y'all need your certifications. B2C, you probably need to run you some ads, make relationships.
Okay.
And B2G, you also get certifications, but you have to learn how to respond to the RFPs, and RFQs when they come out. And we do help you with all of those things.
Okay. Are there any other new developments that you have coming for 2025? Are you launching any new programs, or are you expanding your current locations, or what do you have coming up?
Yep. So in 2025, B2B, we will be, doing more bigger deals with companies. We'll not only be doing their drug testing, but we'll be doing drug and alcohol awareness training.
Okay.
And we're also working on a concept for a physical product related to drug testing, AI infused.
Okay.
B2C, we, will be doing more outreach because drug testing is a huge part of mental health. So we'll be looking to build, more relationships with the communities. And then B2G, we'll be looking for partners like your listeners. We'll be looking to write and win contracts and looking for people who can actually execute on them.
Okay. Now, going back to the government contracts, what exactly that your company doing for the government relating to those contracts? What services will you be providing?
Yeah. So 2 of our government contracts are drug testing related. One of them required us to have boots on the ground, like actually have someone go and do drug screening on site,
Right.
and provide facilities for people to go. The other one, we're essentially just providing them a system where they can go and schedule their drug screening. We'll handle the problems.
Okay.
Another government contract we have is more on my consulting side. So we'll be working with them. It's called strategic services. So it could be anywhere from helping them hire people to doing training to process optimization, things like that.
All right. Let's touch on employees right quick. How do you hire your employees? What do they look for? What are their qualifications they need to have before they come to you for a job? And just what are some of the positions that you currently hiring for that you have on staff now?
Okay. I'm actually looking for an executive sales assistant right now. That is an open opportunity. It's a part-time role. It's 20 to 25 hours a week.
Okay.
You can email lab, L-A-B, at Precis, P-R-E-C-I-S, screening.com. Lab, L-A-B, at PrecisScreening.com. Okay. So that's a live position. I have an offshore team. I have a team in the Philippines that I've worked with for nearly 4 years. They do a lot of the work. I am looking to build a larger team, stateside, but because my model is so dispersed, it hasn't been something that I've necessarily had to do. When I had an office, of course, I had 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 people in it, right? But I'm very nimble right now. Okay. If you're building your drug testing team, obviously you're going to need a lab tech. You're going to need somebody to do the drug screening. They got to be comfortable with urine, hair, saliva. They don't have to know how to draw blood if you're not drawing blood. But if you want to draw blood, then they got to do that.
Phlebotomist.
Yeah. Right. You're going to need a sales and marketing team. You're going to need, y'all need a board. Y'all need thought leadership. Y'all got to find some people who are willing to give you input, on your business strategy. So right now I need an executive sales assistant. But I'm also going to be looking to hire, I haven't had a COO since February. So I'll be looking for a new COO. Okay. And I'll also be looking for some more boots on the grounds for technicians.
Okay, cool. We also know that you ventured into the television industry. Can you tell us a little bit about the First Ladies of Fright? How did ordeal come about right quick?
Oh, awesome. So real quick story. So because of drug testing and lab, one of the things that we do is provide compliance, right, to trucking companies. So if you're a trucking company and you need compliance, hit us up. But basically, I reached out to Casey Cooper, who heads up the Compass Circle. And I said, hey, you know, can I pay you to do a promo? And she did do the promo, but it became a larger conversation. We actually became business partners of sorts for, 3 years. So she does turnkey trucking. And so when she would help the individual start the trucking company, I would then do their compliance.
Okay.
And so First Ladies of Freight, y'all can find that on YouTube. It was an amazing experience because, I'm not an actress or nothing like that. But it's pretty interesting. And, stay tuned because there might be some more things coming related to that.
Okay. How can people get in contact with you?
So y'all can find me on Instagram at I am Sheila, Sheila Michelle, at I am Sheila Michelle. Go to my website, www.iamsheilamichelle.com. I send out my newsletters. I put information in there that is helpful to y'all. Go get my book, Unbroken. It's an amazing story. As I told y'all, I just became a passenger princess. Life wasn't always like this. So my book is designed not to just talk about me, but to help you write your own story.
Okay. And what inspired you to do the book?
People always tell me I need to write a book because I be going through so much stuff.
You got so much going.
I be going through so much stuff, and they just be like, they don't, they feel like I'm really strong.
Right.
And they're like, I don't even know how you do it. You so strong, whatever. And they don't really realize, like God says, his strength is made perfect in our weakness.
Okay.
I'm not strong at all. Every day I wake up to the reality that my son was 24 years old, shot in the back of the head.
Right.
I wake up every day to a son who is serving a prison sentence. But I also wake up to 2 kids who are on Tuskegee's campus on a scholarship. Right. I also wake up to a husband who loves me immensely. Yeah. So you have to learn how to chew the meat
and keep that life balance, personal business balance.
Exactly.
Right.
And so, it's definitely not my last book, but it's I've gotten great feedback on it. I'll be kicking off a book tour and some speaking engagements next year. So, I want to link with y'all, so make sure y'all link.
And we want to thank you for being taking time out of your busy schedule to come here today, the Streetpreneur Podcast, and just share with the world your journey and your knowledge. And I hope those today who watch this video gain some insight, some better knowledge. You also can feel free to contact her to get your drug testing center started or any other entrepreneur venture that you have that's within her realm that she specializes in. She'll be able to help you. And I want to thank you again for coming out to the show. Any other last things you want to leave them with?
No, I want to thank you for coming. I just want to remind y'all that y'all can do anything that y'all put your mind to. Your brain literally expands its capacity based on your thought process. So watch your thoughts.
Okay. And you gave me your contact information.
At I am Sheila Michelle or www.SheilaMichelle.com.
All right, thank you. Again, this is another episode of Streetpreneur Podcast. We'll be back next week with some more exciting entrepreneurs for you. And please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. We look forward to seeing you next week. Thank you. All right.
Thank you.